Okay, we're going to open the zoning hearing board for July 20th, I believe. Thank you for coming. We're going to be going in order of the agenda as we see it. The first appeal will be appeal number 21-1914, Joseph Jennings. If you want to step up and be sworn in, and while you're stepping up and Bill's going to swear you in, if you want to swear him in, then I'll ask you if you have any exhibits to.
Sure. Mr. Jennings, you solemnly swear testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
All right.
Thank you.
Are you, you gonna stay at the table? Yeah, that's your spot. Yeah, sit down, yeah. Make sure that mic's on. You're gonna be speaking in the mic, so make sure it's on.
Yeah, you can hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah. Make sure you're speaking to the mic. Adam, before we get going, is there any exhibits we need to enter in?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The application is A1, site plans A2, and we have revised plans that were just circulated. Those are going to be A3. B1, proof of publication, B2, proof of posting, and B3 is the notice to the neighbors.
All right, that being said, tell us what you like to do.
I would like to do a subdivision.
Mike, a little quick.
I'd like to do a subdivision off of my 6.5 acres and make 2 3-acre lots. That's basically what it's about. I moved to Lower Makefield in 1999, and I actually bought that house on the wall over there. I sold that a couple years later, and I went down into the valley where I liked it a lot with the canal, and I bought the 10 acres that was available there. I lived there for approximately 12, 13 years, and I started having problems with the neighbors who were crossing my land, and that was fine for a while until they started demanding me to clean things up and put sidewalks in, and they wanted everything. So the township approached me and said, would you consider selling us some property so we can get access to the bridge? So I finally did sell them the property. I gave them 75 foot in front of the bridge. It goes halfway up the property, then tapers out into a triangle shape. So they bought 3 acres off me. Previous to subdividing for the open space project, I had started a subdivision, and I'm proposing to do the same thing as I proposed to do then as now, but the variances have changed a little bit because now I'm suffering from the sale to the township. And that made the variances get a little more complicated, I believe. And it's also benefiting 3 of the neighbors who are back along the canal because they have a McKinley Avenue that cuts right through the middle of their yards, which in this case, the first person has to deal with the other 2 neighbors coming up next to his house with their cars. And they're trying to put a fence up and it's to protect the kids and the dogs from wandering. So we're going to move McKinley Avenue out to the borderline. I'm going to put up the property for the new McKinley Avenue, and then new driveways will come in off the new McKinley Avenue to the 3 houses across the back along the canal. And then I propose to extend McKinley Avenue to the house that would be in the subdivision that we're trying to create.
When you say move McKinley Avenue, what do you mean move?
McKinley Avenue right now is really not even paved. It's basically stone, and it goes to the end of McKinley where you'll see it on a map, and then it does a little dog leg off to the left, which you probably won't see on your maps, but that's where the 3 houses along the canal are. And unfortunately, they never put McKinley Avenue at the ends of the property. They stuck it right through the middle because they used to be vacation homes, I believe. So as a vacation home a long, long time ago, they weren't required to do much but whatever they wanted, I think.
The McKinley Avenue that's here now is paved, though.
Yes, McKinley Avenue coming off Taylorsville back to Irving is paved, yes.
Okay. All right. And you have the existing dwelling there now,
Yes, I live in the existing dwelling.
one that's close to McKinley,
Yes,
all right? And that is lot 1, as you say here. And now you want to do this other second lot, this proposed dwelling, and you're going to try to do what? Use some kind of a flag lot here to make this access for the rear dwelling?
I guess that would be called a flag lot, is that correct?
Am I correct on that? I think so, right?
It's not a second house on the same property, it's a subdivision.
Yeah, right, subdivided. Now, just to go back a minute, before you sold the land to the township, as you said, the lot was 7.5 acres.
It was just a fraction short of 10 when I sold it to the township.
Mm.
Then that brought me back. I sold them about 3. I sold them 3 as far as I know, which should have gave me a little over 6.5 left over, which some of that I was going to just put towards the new McKinley Avenue to satisfy the neighbors in the back, and then extend it a little further to the house that I proposed to build.
Mr. Jennings, do you have anything that your surveyor wants to go through?
Yeah, I'd like to say a brief thing.
Tony, I'm going to need to swear him in.
You need to be sworn in.
Sir, do you solemnly swear testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Could you tell me your first and last name? Robert Snyder? Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Joe covered most of the items. There's a few key dates, I guess, going back to initially in 2008. He submitted very similar plans. It was creating one new building lot. Unfortunately, in 2012, the engineer he was using went out of business. So the plans never got recorded or finalized, and he's been in limbo, I guess, trying to get enough money together to recreate the entire subdivision process again. In 2009, the very similar zoning variances were granted, but that was based on a larger lot. We're essentially asking for the same type of variances, just on a smaller lot, since he sold some of the ground as open space to the township a few years ago in 2016. Joe refers to the drive that goes through those 3 properties to the east as McKinley Avenue. It's really just an access driveway. The neighbors may refer to it as McKinley, but it's really not part of that road. It's an access drive, but it does go through their backyards, and they approached him, to try to create a common drive that they can access as part of this, and he has that shown on the plans. The proposal is essentially the same as it was almost 10 years ago, to create one new building lot. We still have to go through all the appropriate reviews and approvals with the Planning Commission, Conservation District, and your engineer, which we intend to do so if we're granted the variances tonight.
I have a question. That at the end of McKinley Avenue is like a little driveway that shoots over to somebody's house there. And that's the area where you have off the new access road where the flag lot is. Why again does that have to be accessible to his property?
Well, the neighbors actually want it right now. As you can see, there's 3 properties, so they drive through each other's backyard essentially to get to the next lot. And this would be much more, I guess, desirable to have one driveway, and then they would actually gain some yard area, where right now it's just a gravel stone drive.
What are the variances we're looking for? Basically, these are only density, right? Density of the lot?
Density and the minimum
And
net lot area.
net
Both
lot
lots
area.
are over 3 acres gross, but when you take out the environmental issues, they're slightly over 1 acre each net.
So with the previous application that was mentioned and the variances with it, when it was the 10 acres, was there the lot density issue at the time?
Yes,
There was.
yes. And they're the same 2 type of variances, just different numbers because it's less ground at this point due to the fact that the township obtained some of the property as open space.
And what was the result of the variances the first time? Were they passed by the board or didn't get that far?
They were granted, but the plans were never finalized. So, like I said, the engineer went out of business, and there was no way to complete the plans at that point in time for Joe.
Can we get some clarification on?
If I may, Mr. Zamparelli,
Yes?
Barbara Kirk, the attorney for the
Yeah, yes, I know
township,
who you-
and we're here in actually opposition to this
I was gonna ask you
application.
If, where the township stood.
And I actually believe that there's more than 2 variances that would be required,
And what would you think they are, Barb?
if I may. I believe that the minimum front yard setback would be required for the lots off of McKinley Ave. It's still designated as a roadway with road frontage. And based on information provided to me through the township engineer, and Mr. Majewski can verify, it appears that minimum front yard setback is going to be less than the otherwise required 50 feet. And it appears that because of creating 2 new lots out of one existing single lot at the present time, the impervious surface coverage is going to be affected. The
I'm sorry. go ahead,
township engineer provided information that also indicates that the building envelope for the lot 2 is not shown properly. So I'm not even sure these amended plans are in a condition for this board to consider.
Barb. Would you like to comment on that, your attorney, whoever is representing you?
Is Mr. Snyder there?
Well, I'm looking at the plan now. The impervious surface area seems to be for both lots under the 13%. The existing front yard for the existing house is an existing nonconformity. That's not really being created by the subdivision.
Well, but it's going to be a modification on the basis that what's a nonconformity for one whole lot is now being subdivided to create a second lot. So that nonconformity is not necessarily going to become a legal nonconformity, in that the property owner is creating his whole second lot from that existing one lot.
So Barb, would I be correct to interpret what you're saying is the existing dwelling does not have the proper setback the way it is right now because they're subdividing the larger
Correct.
lot?
Correct. So what happens is, because the property right now is on one entire lot, it would be considered a legally not a currently existing nonconformity, because it was created prior to current zoning regulations. Now, however, because he's carving out a whole separate lot, he's changing the entire configuration of the lot. Therefore, that nonconformity is no longer going to be a legal pre-existing condition.
Question for you, Barbara, here.
And as to the impervious surface, right now they meet, but I believe the township's position is, by creating a second lot, property owner is becoming a developer because he's going to be building a new property or building on that. And as a result of that, he would be subject to the 10% impervious surface ratio, which it appears, based on this amended plan, that the construction would exceed that coverage.
On this plan, shouldn't it show the new building envelope? Where's it? What am I missing here?
It does not appear to.
That's through there, okay. Oh, I see it. Thank you, Matt. They would need 50 feet for that existing dwelling, is what you're saying to us, Barb, right?
Correct.
My question to you here, Barbara, though, is that it doesn't look like there's any change in the geometry on the existing condition on that side. So I'm trying to see how subdividing the lot changes. It's not changing the setback on that existing building. It's,
Not on that existing building specifically as part of this plan, but on the nature and condition of the entire lot.
So the township's issue is the impervious surface not calculated correctly based on the subdivision, and the existing dwelling is not really in the envelope either, and that would also need a variance.
Correct, and the fact that the variance relief is being requested merely as a result of the property owner's desire to subdivide the lot. Had he not created that condition, he would not need zoning relief. Because if I
What
may,
area, the front yard?
I'm sorry?
No, are you speaking in regards to the front yard of McKinley Avenue?
As to the setback, yes.
Because I guess as was stated, the right of way of McKinley is not changing as part of this subdivision. I mean, if it was.
Correct, but what you're
it was-
doing is you're not changing the right of way, but McKinley is going to be altered in its course and its path. And you're changing the condition of the lot that's facing McKinley. It is no longer one whole lot. It's going to be two lots now.
I agree with that. I guess that's still, I guess we just have a difference of opinion there. We did revise the plans, and we believe we addressed the engineer's comments, but I did not get a re-review back. So, and he did not bring up the issue of, in his review of, I guess, using different criteria for impervious. So if that is the case, then you would be correct that we would need an additional variance request, but that he did not bring that up. So I mean, I think since there's a few outstanding issues, we might ask for this to be continued so we can resolve these questions with the township engineer and the zoning officer.
And just so we're clear, Mr. Snyder, when were these amended plans delivered to the township?
Last Thursday, I believe.
So the engineer may not have had enough opportunity to get information back to you after his review of this amended plan. Isn't that correct?
I mean, I was, I guess, a little surprised that we were on the agenda tonight, because I just know from, experience with, municipal reviews that they're usually not turned around that fast. And our goal for delaying the prior meeting was to make sure that we had the plans cleaned up to address his comments in his zoning review. And a couple things you brought up were not, the impervious, he did not bring up that issue in the zoning review, but he may have, he may in his follow-up.
Not in the zoning review.
Yeah, I mean, he may bring them up in his,
Right, so everything you're
that
Mr. Snyder, everything you're referring to, it says township engineer zoning review is based on information you received from the township engineer on the original plan that was submitted.
Yes,
Correct?
yes.
Okay.
We're going to have to give the engineer a chance to review that before we go any further. But before we go any further, I'd like to ask one question. This proposed accessory garage, shouldn't that be in the envelope? It's not a shed.
Actually, an accessory building does not have to be within the building setback. That's for the principal building structure. The accessory structure just needs to be in the fourth of the lot, furthest removed from the road, and 10 feet off the property line.
Okay.
I have a question here. I see infiltration basins shown on here. Is that an effort to reduce the effective impervious coverage, or what's the purpose of those?
Well, that's to show the intention of putting something there when we submit a complete set of site drawings for the subdivision review. Well, yeah, these are not fully engineered plans at this point. They're strictly to show what's proposed to get the required zoning relief.
So that would be intended to get you underneath the 10% then, effectively.
Actually, if I may, they would have to control all the runoff from all new impervious surfaces created. So effectively, it would be as if the development technically didn't happen from some stormwater management perspectives.
And Mr. Snyder, you said you haven't heard back from the engineer yet?
No.
No, I don't think, we can't go any further. We gotta get his comments.
Well, if I may, Mr. Zamparelli, I received a copy of an email that was sent actually this afternoon. And there is a copy to Mr. Jennings and Mr. Schneider at Kelly and Close Engineers. I presume, however, they weren't sent via email, it was probably sent today by regular mail. So as soon as regular mail is delivered is when they'll know the comments.
Yeah, I did not get anything by email because I checked everything right before the meeting. So I think you're correct. I believe you are correct.
And I just want to point out, if I may, and Mr. Schneider, you can verify this. The maximum density of units per acre based on what is proposed for Lot 2 is more than 2% of what would otherwise be permitted. Isn't that correct?
I believe so, yes.
And for Lot 1, it's almost 3 times more than what is permitted.
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Like I said, at this point, I think it would be best if we continue this until we get a chance to, get the engineers' review back and, just confirm the items that you brought up, since they were a little different than things that were in his letter, and if we have to modify our request of variances, we would.
I can send you a copy of this if you would like to give me your email address.
Okay. You ready now? It's RJ Snyder.
Is that all right, Mr. Zam?
It's RJ
I'm sorry, RJ.
SNYDER at
Mhm.
kellyengineers.com.
Okay.
You're going to have to understand if this continues, it's going to have to be at least a month out because we have to re-advertise.
That's a pretty normal procedure, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
People got to get notified. Public has to have a chance to.
There were notices put out just because there's something new being, okay. So everybody knows everything going down. Okay, all right.
There.
Yep, yep.
All right. So what would be the next available date? Wouldn't be the 3rd, it'd be the,
Yeah, so assuming there would be a need for additional advertisement, August 17th would be our second meeting of August, and that gives you about 4 weeks.
is that okay?
Yes.
Somebody like to make a motion to have this
Motion to continue.
to August 17th, you said?
Yeah, do we have?
Make a motion to
Oh. You wanna
continue
take
up
public
here.
comment now?
If anyone's here, yeah, they
Do
should.
we have any public comment on this? He's behind the glass.
There is public comment on this agenda item.
Guess we want to hear it. They're there. Let's hear it.
All right, we can bring,
Bring them in. They have to be sworn in, state their full name, where they live.
we'll start with Kim, bringing Kim in now.
Is Kim in?
Kim, you're in the room. You just have to press *6 to unmute.
I did. Thank you. Hi, my name's Kimberly Mummy. I live at 36 Maple Vale Drive, right around the corner from Mr. Jennings. And I have a lot of concerns here. Actually, I've
She's gotta
lived
be
here my whole
sworn
life.
in.
Uh-oh,
Kim, it's-
sorry.
You
All right,
to
no
be
problem. I
sworn
just have to swear you in.
Okay.
Kim, do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You spell your last name for me, please?
M as in Michael, U, M as in Michael, M as in Michael, E.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Now may I? Now is
Yes.
it okay?
Proceed.
Okay. So I've grown up here. I've used the trail that the township was forced to buy for $250,000. After, when Mr. Jennings moved in, he was well aware that I don't know how you couldn't be. For 60 years, that has been the path to get to the canal, and everybody has more than graciously used it. And he was very he's not been a great neighbor. I mean, as he's as he's referred to us as not being good neighbors. But my concern here is really, as Lower Makefield is a great place to live, and, the property is zoned, resource protected. And I guess I'm questioning, the township made that choice, which I think is a great choice because of, how much building we have going on here. It's right next to the canal. It's, it's a nice access area, plus with the impervious surface and drainage and all of those considerations, I just am questioning why the township would even be considering this, because of the fact that the property is that way. And over the years that he's been there, he's been cutting stuff down all spring. And I know that based upon that code, that you're really limited to how much that you're allowed to take down. And I believe you also have to get permission, which maybe you guys have authorized, maybe not. We've got, we just put the bridge in, which has taken away definitely some of the area for the animals. You've got, with the airport over us, it's good to have some more trees to try to absorb some of the stuff that flies down from them. So I just really am hoping that the township considers the fact, it's not worth going back and forth about who's a good neighbor or who's not. But he bought the property knowing that there were conditions with it, and that it was really a lot that should be wooded and kept in that form. And we're definitely moving away from that. So I appreciate you guys listening to my comments.
Absolutely. And I want to ask everybody, try to stay focused on the application itself, the bad neighbor, good neighbor thing, really.
Right.
Nothing to do with
Yeah.
it. Stay focused, so we all stay with the actual property and its appeal. So, but thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We have David next for public comment.
Okay?
David, you're now in the room. You can press *6 to unmute.
David, are you there?
David, you can press *6 to unmute.
Press *6. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi there. My name
Hi.
is David Rischel. I live in the same neighborhood as Ms. Mummy.
Your exact address, please, and then you have to be sworn in.
Okay, 220 Meadow Drive.
Dave, do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You spell your last name for me, Dave?
Sure, it's Rishel.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to make a statement. And I'll try to keep it just very simple. You know, we're members of the community. I think the points that were made by Ms. Mummy were really very good. It's a simple fact that when this land was purchased by the present owner, it was clear that it couldn't be developed. And he purchased it knowing that. And for there to be a variance to zoning rules, there should be some compelling reason to benefit the community. And I haven't heard anything in what was proposed that would justify that. This is just something that he's trying to do for personal gain. I understand he owns the property. It would be unfortunate for a person who bought property to discover that they couldn't develop it like they had planned. He has my sympathies, but there's simply no good reason that the rest of the neighborhood should be compelled to accept the loss of this land, which has been set aside for well-established reasons, merely because he wants to profit from its development. And I would hope that the board would consider that and appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Yep, we're gonna bring in Guy next.
Thank you, John.
Please state your name and address.
Guy, you're now in the room. You can hit *6 to unmute.
You with us? *6 to unmute.
Guy, you can press *6 to unmute. All right, we're gonna bring Tom in.
Okay.
Tom, you're now in the room.
This is Tom. I don't have I'm waiting for a different case. I'm for 211919.
Okay.
Oh, my apologies. We'll get right out.
We're not on that one yet.
Yep, right. Thank you. I'll hold.
All right, we'll bring Mike in.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, you're now in the room. You can hit *6 to unmute.
I'm here.
Hey, Mike, your full name and address, please.
Yeah, Michael Brennan, 6 Maplevale Drive.
Mike, do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
So I just want to provide a little more context. I'm not sure if the zoning board is aware of with the timeline of events with this property. So when Mr. Jennings was negotiating with the township in 2015 and 2016 to sell a portion of the property to the township, he was advised by Mr. Fedorchak, who was the manager at the time and was negotiating with him, that he could sell a portion of the property to the township or he could subdivide, but he couldn't do both. He wouldn't be approved for both. And it seems that he's kind of waited out some of the people who were on the board of supervisors and in management with the township at the time, and has now reapplied for the same variances that he was looking for that he was told he wasn't going to be able to get previously. So I think that context is kind of important to be added to this conversation.
Thank you. Anything else?
Do you have anything specific to the application on your part?
Tom is left, so we'll bring Mary in next. Mary, you're now in the room.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Mary, full name and address, please.
Mary Mashak, 10 McKinley Avenue.
Mary, do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Mary, can you spell your last name for me, please?
Mashak.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Go
Okay,
ahead.
insofar as my comment, we do not have a problem with Mr. Jennings subdividing and putting another home back there. He's managed the property very well. He's cared for it. I understand, insofar as having the township purchase that right of way, it's understandable when you think about the liability, and you can say it's always been that way, but when you're held liable for anyone's injury that just feels free to come through your property, I think that's a problem. And so now that goes back to the township buying. Insofar as him building another home back there, we have no problem with that.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, we're bringing Lorena next. Lorena, you're in the room. You can hit *6 to unmute.
Hello, this is Lorena Stoddard. I live at 220 Meadow Drive.
Lorena, do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Can you spell your last name for me, please?
Stoddard.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
May I go ahead?
Yes.
I've lived here for maybe 16 years, 17 years, and the path has always been accessible to us. And then a couple of years ago, it did get blocked. And maybe the neighbor that just spoke is correct. Maybe people did actually say they had problems, but the pathway was not hard to access, and people actually access the canal in that one line. And now that it's purchased, obviously it's safer, quote unquote, although never been cleaned up from the huge trees that he cut down and blocked the path with. My concern actually has to do with that the land, I believe, is labeled resource protected. And I thought that meant that no variance could be brought to the zoning board. I don't understand how that's possible. Separate from that issue, I'm very concerned about the water that comes down the hill and is not caught by the basin at the bottom of Billington, since all of the buildings of homes have been put up there. When we do get it, as you know, we have flooded in our neighborhood. In addition to flooding, I'm also very concerned about losing the road, the trees that we've lost just because of the bridge. But we also have an airport that's becoming much more active now that COVID is over, and was very active prior to COVID. Then the trees that keep getting cut down now before he's even got variances, which is surprising to me because I believe there's rules about this resource protected land that says you can't cut down trees. And I know that was already mentioned, but I mean, we already have issues about air quality in Bucks County. This land is a small plot of land, but it has been protected for years. And now we're going to put in a couple homes, one family home and a two-family home in one dwelling. I guess I really just want to go back to, is it resource protected? And how is it that we can ask for variances? And And then separate from that, he's already gotten rid of a good portion of the land for a good quantity of money. So I don't understand how we can, as the town, allow that this fellow who moved to the community when I moved to the community to do this to the town itself. So I just think we should be looking into what resource protected means and how variances could be put onto that kind of land. And then is this really a good thing for our community? We already are being inundated by an airport, by a new bridge, and the air quality is already bad. We know we flood, and it just doesn't seem like it's a wise idea for the community to have 2 new homes built for the benefit of this gentleman and for 2 families, maybe 3. Thank you.
Can you comment on the resource protected questions you mentioned?
The township has the entirety of the township separated out into different zoning districts. We have commercial districts, we have office, we have various residential districts. One of the districts we do have is a residential resource protection. In that district, we require a 3-acre lot size, and one of the purposes of that is to limit development to a lesser amount than otherwise would be allowed in other parts of the township. For instance, the R1 zoning district typically allows a rough net of about 1-acre lots on a large piece of property. The R2 is roughly about ½ acre lots over the entirety. R3 is roughly about a third. RRP is 1 lot per every 3 acres. So the development potential for the RRP is much less than the other zones, but that does not abridge the rights of the person who owns the property to appeal to the zoning hearing board, as they have done, to request that relief be granted because they feel that the strict application of our zoning does not quite allow the reasonable use of their property. So a variance is a separate issue from the RRP, the residential resource protection. Within this area, the resources are protected by virtue of the fact that you can only develop on a 3-acre parcel of land as opposed to a 1/4 acre to an acre that you'd see in other parts of the township.
I hope that's a little clearer for you. But people have a right to try to do something with their property. We just can't tell them it's worthless, but we do have to do it correctly. And I just want you to understand that. And then when we get the newer set of drawings and we see the comments on that, you'll be able to comment further on that as well. Do you have anything else to add?
Not at this time.
Any more comments? Public comments?
We have further public comment. We will bring in Rick next. All right, Rick, you're now in the room with us. If you could unmute.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we hear you. Your name and full name and address, please.
My name is Rick Gears, and I live at 17 Maplevale Drive.
Rick, do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to say that for Mr. Jennings to open up the conversation and gloss over the circumstances that surrounded the closing of that access to the bridge so quickly doesn't do the whole thing justice. I'm not going to get into a bad neighbor, good neighbor type thing, but people have spoke about it, and I think it's fair to say that that was probably, on a whole, in my 30 years of living at this address, one of the worst things I've ever had happen to me here. And it wasn't just what he did, it was how he did it. So having just said that, I'll just leave that alone. But if that property is resource protected, then he needs to just stop the whole process. We don't need another house in that area. We've already got flooding issues around here. We've got development happening above us out at the highway. I mean, what are we coming to? We're going to just be able to like walk across the roofs of the houses
Okay.
in this neighborhood. I'm sorry?
Try to stay focused on the property itself. I understand what you're saying, but yeah, we haven't really seen the complete drawing yet. I'm not for or against or take any position, but some of those things you did mention could be corrected or even made better based on his plan, especially about the flooding things you talked about. So we really should give him the benefit of the doubt and let's see the completed drawing, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Well, given the history of how this gentleman operates, giving him the benefit of the doubt, I don't believe is fair, because he didn't act like a good neighbor before this. So why should we expect that he would going forward?
Unfortunately, that's not criteria, but I understand.
Well, unfortunately, it's not criteria, but I think it's something that really needs to be said. We're all neighbors here. So, I just like to, my opinion or my vote is to not give him the variance that he needs to continue to build there.
And he wouldn't, it isn't just cut and dry like that. If it got to the point where we had to look at his newer drawing, it's definitely going to require certain things to be done, mitigation, maybe more so, setbacks. So it's just not that simple. He's just going to automatically get it, whether you like him or not, or whether he made money or whatever. He'll still have to have some, there's no way he's going to be able to do anything with this lot without major changes. Just want to say that up front.
Mr. Zamparelli, I've lived here long enough to know that things get said, things have been said over the years, and then the names and the faces change. And, it just seems like, people wait things out, or they don't wait things out, things change. And then all of a sudden it's like, up there on the 95 passageway, that area was resource protected or open space area. And then every once in a while, somebody comes along and says, well, let's just carve out 10 acres here and 10 acres there. And it just seems like everything just gets watered down over the years. And if you've been here long enough, you see it. It doesn't make anybody a bad person, but the laws are set up originally and regulations to keep some things from happening. And I think we need to consider those things.
And we certainly will.
Okay. Well,
Thank you very
for your
much.
time.
Next.
All right, we have Michelle coming in next. Oh, actually, we have Michael in. Michael, you can press *6 to unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Michael. Full name and address.
Michael Katzman, 6 McKinley Avenue.
Michael, do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you for hearing me out. I live on 6 McKinley Avenue. I live directly, my property is directly adjacent to Mr. Jennings. My issue is with the safety aspect of the way that the McKinley Avenue driveway is currently laid out. It's currently, as you've mentioned earlier, cutting through the center of my front yard. I have 3 small kids under the age of 5 and 2 dogs. And every time they go out, I worry of them getting run over by a car, by an Amazon truck that speeds through the center of our driveway to get to the other 2 houses.
Your property, is it to the right of his property, that little road?
It's when you turn on, it's that first house when you turn on the McKinley. Turn, I guess, left.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So I've made multiple complaints. There's people cutting through our yards all the time, going through going to the towpath. I mean, our neighbors, I don't mind, but that's just another thing that I have to worry about. People walking their dogs, our dogs possibly chasing them. I can't fence off my yard again because the driveway is in the center of it. There's been a gentleman that continually drives his snowmobile at a very high rate of speed, possibly intoxicated. I called the police several times. Again, I worry about my children's safety, and God forbid something happens.
Have you
And I
seen
fully
the,
support.
I'm sorry, have you seen the original drawing so far with the proposed?
Yeah, I've seen the drawing, and I fully support the plan. You know, Mr. Jennings has been a very good neighbor, but I don't think his character is up for question here, and I don't see, why that's even an issue.
Okay, thank you. Next.
All right, we're bringing Michelle in for public comment now. Michelle, you're in the room. You can press *6 to unmute.
Hi.
Michelle, full name and
Hello?
address, please.
Hi, my name is Michelle James, and my family has two homes in the Mapleville section. We have one that we reside
Your
in.
address? We didn't get your address.
And sworn, and she needs to be.
I'm about to tell you.
And we need to swear you in before you say anything.
Okay, I'm about to tell you.
Okay?
My family has two homes.
Oh, Michelle.
in-
You still haven't given us your address.
I'm still trying to.
I'm sorry.
telling you,
Oh.
my family.
My mistake.
My
I'm
family
sorry.
has two homes in the Mapleville section. We reside at 38 Mapleville Drive, and we also have, my husband owns 24 Mapleville Drive. So we have two homes here. And
Okay.
I have lived.
That's where you
Go ahead.
Tommy,
What's your exact address on those two homes? Did you give that? Did we give-
38
Okay.
Mapleville and 24 Mapleville.
Thank you. My apologies.
That's quite all right.
Michelle, do you solemnly swear for testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I am going to, I agree with all my neighbors. I won't reiterate all the same things that they have about the trees, the environmental, like the flooding. We know all this. Our area is made up of river rock, so flooding is a huge possibility. We could know just from the storm we had the other day, our yards flooded. So you add two more homes over in that section, and we're surrounded by wetlands and river and canals. The canals emptied continuously for flooding purposes. So I'll go on that. My main concern with Mr. Jennings is traffic. Traffic has been a huge concern of mine. I have been very active.
He's got nothing to do with the traffic.
Tony, if I
Well,
may
he
add,
will if he
there's only
adds
one
two
lot.
more homes to.
There's only one lot?
There's only one lot.
Unproposed
I'm sorry. I
house.
haven't had I haven't had a chance to quite look at the drawings. I thought you said they was breaking up into three. So my
No,
correction, one. You add two more cars or one more home to the mix, and you are talking a lot of traffic. The way Dolington and McKinley line up, it's an extremely dangerous intersection when you're going across, whether you're turning left off of Dolington. That's extremely dangerous there. So you do add more cars.
I understand you might be in a couple more cars, there's no question. But did you ever consider, again, I'm not making any position here, that his new drawing might make that water problem a lot better? You won't have the flooding. I'm just asking if you think that's a possibility.
Absolutely not. There's no
Really?
way he could, adding another home could make it possible. Yes. He would have to, yeah. And I'm not an engineer. I haven't looked at I'm literally going by the fact that I've lived in this neighborhood for 28 years. So my expertise is knowing the area and seeing it and living it. I've seen my streets flooded.
You're not
Our
giving the guy
homes
a
don't
chance
flood,
to
but I
read.
have seen the streets flood.
I think the most important issue here is to realize that these are interim plans. Why don't you wait, review what's being proposed, take it to the grading as your engineering expertise, and then get back to us.
You're speaking about my expertise on the flooding?
Once you see the new plans, then I would reserve you can get an engineer.
I don't even think we should see new plans. Mr. Jennings, when he bought this tract, he knew it was not allowed to be subdivided. I don't even understand why
That's why
this
he's
is
here.
even a question. We are surrounded by wetlands. My property at 38, I have the bridge behind me. I'm surrounded by wetlands. Like, you cannot build this property behind me because of wetlands.
I think what Mr. Tritt is saying is that, it's a possibility that he could correct those things and make that all go away, as we've done it
Oh,
many
he's going to
times.
correct our neighborhood flooding. He's going to correct our sewer drains and all
Well, you
that
have to
too.
give him a chance to come up with some kind of plan to show you and your expert or whoever you have to advise you.
My
Give him the benefit
expertise is living in Lower Makefield for over 30 years.
I got that. But still, you're not giving him the benefit of the doubt of a complete design yet. Again, I'm not taking any position, but you got to give him a chance.
Well, what?
to-
Okay, so then back to since you said I'm supposed to give Mr. Jennings the benefit of the doubt, let's go back to, and I apologize, I did not see Mr. Jennings' statement in the beginning. I joined the meeting late. But let's go back to the bad neighbor, good neighbor thing, okay? I know for a fact that the board is well aware of Mr. Jennings' antics because my son went to a meeting before the school board and he brought, not the school board, before the township meeting, and he brought a piece of rubber hose.
Hold on. That's got nothing to do with this.
It does have something to do
No,
with
it
it because
doesn't.
you just asked me to give Mr. Jennings the benefit of
Well,
the doubt to
I don't
correct
mean that
flooding, and I'm telling
hearsay
you,
from
there's
another
record
meeting.
of this. No, well, there's record of it.
No,
There's
that's
public record of it.
okay.
There's not
Thank
public
you very
record of
much.
it. There's public record. There's
Thank you.
public record of my son.
All right. Thank you very much.
We have April next. April, you're now in the room. You can press *6 to unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Name, full address, and be sworn in.
Yeah, hi. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is April. The last name is Bolwage Clower, B like boy, OLLWAGE -CLOER. And my address is 20 Mapleville Drive.
Okay. Be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear
yes.
that the gift will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
So much
Okay.
like the concern. Sorry, go ahead.
Again, try to stay focused on the issue at hand.
Absolutely.
Proceed.
Yes, thank you. So my concern is much in line with the rest of my neighbors. We have seen, now I realize we have not seen the future plans yet, and we've been asked to give our comment not seeing them. So all we can do is based on what we know. And this home was my grandmother's home. I came here as a child. I rode my bike down that path. All the warm and fuzzy, fantastic things about Lower Makefield Township from a girl who lived across the bridge in a more concrete area, let's say. And I chose to buy the property here, knowing about the flooding, knowing everything about that, but I wanted to raise my son here. And now we are faced with an environmental situation where we're losing more trees. Now, unless he's going to plant us a new forest, I don't know how you can make up for that.
Well,
there are ways certainly where you can offset
yes,
maybe some
please.
drainage in the woods, but it does not help our area here in our neighborhood that has seen tremendous amount of flooding. And our home is the one at the lowest point of the neighborhood. So I've seen this house gutted multiple times in my life.
Okay.
So
well,
I don't
let's wait-
understand. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let's wait for the new plans. Everything comment you're making, everybody's made already, and that's great, but we have to wait for the new plans to even answer those things. And then please come back when we have that, so you can comment based on on the new plans.
And thank you. And I do appreciate you hearing us, because I understand that everyone's aware that there was a petition in our neighborhood, outside of our neighborhood, with very strong feelings, and quite a number of people have called in tonight. So I hope you all realize that this is very important to our neighborhood and those accessing our neighborhood from other neighborhoods that use that path. and the ramifications that there will be environmentally because of the loss of the trees and the construction. And I'm sorry, again, I know we haven't
Okay,
seen the plans,
again,
but we will ask for our comment.
Okay, we got it.
But
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
There is no further public comment on this agenda item.
Nope, no other comment?
Barbara, I'd like to ask you a question. It was alleged earlier that Terry Fedoric and Mr. Jennings made an agreement for Mr. Jennings to trade his subdivision rights for the township to purchase those 3 acres that we purchased. Are you aware of a record of this?
I do not know of it off the top of my head. This is the first I'm hearing of it.
With that in mind, is it common for handshake deals like that to be made sometimes?
It could be. I mean, I could try to go back and see if there's anything in the minutes or anything of that nature. But even so, I'm not quite so sure how enforceable a deal of that nature would be.
I agree.
I don't know how somebody can give up their rights to request a variance or zoning relief. So I don't know.
I agree, Barbara and Jim. I mean, there's,
Also,
I'm sorry.
township manager can't make a deal that involves the zoning board. So even if, you know what I mean? So there's an issue with that too.
Since it was alleged.
Yeah.
It was brought to light, yes.
It should have been part of the sale agreement.
Yeah, if it was in writing, but I don't even know if you can,
I mean, if it was something to have been enforced, it should have been recorded as a deed restriction of such.
Exactly.
Yes, and that's what he was saying. I agree. If there's not any more comment,
I'd like to make a motion to continue this to August 17th.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Okay, aye. Those in favor, aye. I'm in favor. The rest are. Those against? Nobody? Continuance is granted till August 17th, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you next month. Anytime.
I'm going to sign out, Mr. Zamparelli. I was only here for this application. We're not participating in the remaining 3.
I think there's a new regulations you got to hang in there.
Always like.
I know you're disappointed.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Barbara.
Have a good evening, everyone.
All right, who's next? I gotta get my thing out. Jesus, where did I go with it? Oh, there it is. Okay, here it is. Here's next appeal. 21-1919, Sherry Leiter. Did I say that right? Lichter? Sorry. Not good. I'm usually pretty good, but I failed that time. Okay, if you guys can, is there any exhibits you brought in?
yes, we have, application is A1, site plans is A2, proof of publication B1, proof of posting B2, and B3 is the notice to neighbors.
All right. State your names and you need to be both, I guess you're both going to testify. So you,
Steve McGill, representing Munn's Construction.
Sherry Lichter.
and you're, okay, that's right. I see it. All right, you have to be sworn in.
Swear these both solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God.
I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, let me look at it. Is this the fence?
No,
Oh, no, this is the patio.
correct.
Ah,
Yeah, the most of the patio is existing.
yeah, I read it.
We are asking for relief so we can build a roof cover over the mostly existing patio. There's a small section of flower bed kind of carved out of the patio that will get infilled. That aside, you know, we're asking to be able to build a roof cover over that existing patio.
Was that existing patio with a permit?
Previous owners.
Ah,
I believe Jasper did their porch. I know.
So, it looks like you're making it wider than what's there now.
The patio is not getting widened.
All we're doing is putting a roof over the existing porch that's already there. Am I allowed?
Yes, of course you are. Yeah, we're looking while you're going.
Okay. First, I'd like to thank the zoning hearing board for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of my appeal for the proposed overhead in my backyard. Hello, my name is Shari Lichter. I live at 532 Clareton Court, Yardley, PA 19067. It's Lot 8 in Woods of Makefield. I am here tonight to ask you to grant the overhead for my existing porch that is in my backyard. All I'm trying to do is put an overhead over the existing porch, which is already there. I am on the board for the association at Woods and Makefield, which is my neighborhood, so I made sure that this was approved by them first. I really need an overhead because I am not allowed to sit out in the sun for too long or at all. I already had skin tags, red dots, skin irritations removed that could have developed into skin cancer if not removed. My dermatologist, Dr. Roseman in Yardley, removed them, and he tells me I really need to stay out of the sun to prevent any more. I have a boxer dog named Brooklyn, and boxer dogs have small noses, so it's hard for her to be out in the sun for a long period of time because of her breathing, and she starts to pant, and it also can cause heat stroke. My vet, Dr. Graham from Newtown Veterinary Hospital, said only let her stay out for 10 to 20 minutes because it is not good for her to be in the sun for long periods of time. A few years ago, I lost my husband, Alan, suddenly. And my dog, Brooklyn, is my life now. And she is all I have left from what he and I shared. So right now, my dog and I sit under a portion of a tree when the shade comes out, and it only comes out one part of the day, usually later in the day. When we do sit under there, everything falls on us from this tree, or we have to sit where the gnats are, and it would be so much better if we had this overhead. I'm a law-abiding citizen. Like I mentioned before, I am a board member for the association in my neighborhood, and I always try to help my neighbors, especially when they call upon me. To summarize, both my dog and myself need to stay out of the sun, which is why we are asking for this overhead, which is only to go over the existing porch, which is already there. I sincerely thank you for your time and your consideration and would be extremely grateful if you could please approve this overhead for my existing back porch for both me and my dog Brooklyn, so we have a peaceful and safer place to sit out back. Thank you so much.
Quite a bit of an encroachment on this rear setback.
Yes, I do understand that. So we are asking for this relief due to the hardship that it's a corner lot. And, you know, the existing building footprint is pretty much completely filling all setback. Had it not been a double front property, you know, there would have been more area that could have been potentially developed on, you know, other areas that potentially could have housed this roof cover.
The roof cover is only for part of the porch, the cement where the outside furniture is.
Their site plan.
Is there a what?
The last A104.
Need a picture?
It's not going to be enclosed, it's going to be open.
It'll be open, yes.
Correct.
It's just a roof. No.
We're not putting in a full foundation. It would just be getting footers at the posts. It's just being supported by 2 posts. So certainly if that was ever to come up, it would have to go back through the process again anyways.
I think it's a little close. Be comfortable with
A little bit.
Or not what? The overhead?
Yeah.
Well, I guess they'd have to take out, I mean, who approved the porch? Did your township approve it before?
The porch doesn't,
It's only going over the cement porch that's already there.
the porch is a ground structure.
Make the porch smaller, you mean?
No, keep the porch the same.
Yeah.
Just pull the covering back.
You mean the roof?
Pull the cover back.
Okay, as long as there's an overhead, I don't think.
How much would you be okay with? They're asking for what? 26 feet? Is that what they're asking?
Well, you normally have 40, that's too big.
2611 and 40 is required.
So we were proposing this roof to be just under 17 foot in depth. Just on experience, I figure 12 foot is usually pretty good. It's suitable for like a patio table, chairs, and relatively comfortable passage around it. If we reduce the overhang back to a 12 foot, so that would be a 5 foot yield, 5 foot difference.
Which way you're saying is too big, long or width?
The setback to how close it is to
The
the,
26, you mean?
yeah, we need to
So
get that. I
Can you make it 23?
think we might need a little bit more than that.
What is actually what he just said would be 26, 2611 to 3111 for a setback. That the house itself, given the dimension you just gave, is 42-foot setback, so obviously a 40-foot setback isn't going to work to do anything there, if we were to look at this.
So drop it down to 12, be 32 foot.
Yeah.
32. I'm more comfortable with 30.
Would you be okay going back to the 12 foot? And that would be a 32-foot setback?
Will that still cover my porch?
I don't know, I don't live there.
I measured it was 23 by 6.
I know, but we're not gonna give you that.
Not 23.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you want to take a minute to think about this and we can see if there's any?
23 feet instead of 26?
No.
We're going the
The
wrong way.
smallest you can
We
do.
have to go the other way.
We're looking for more than 26-foot
You're
setback.
showing.
Want it bigger.
you're
Well, no,
showing-
not your patio gets smaller, that dimension gets bigger.
So I have to take down the cement porch.
No.
No, you can leave the porch all you want. It's the cover is what you're asking a variance on. So we have a concern about having the,
I just thought the roof cover was coming to the cement, over the cement porch.
we
Not
understand
going
that.
past that.
Right, we understand what you're saying, but so the zoning is concerned about the cover, the structure, not your patio.
Oh,
We
so
have a
you're saying the
concern.
structure comes out past.
So, yeah, no, we're saying the structure
Not
comes
as
out
far.
to approximately 27 feet from your property line. Or at least I have a concern that that is too close to your property line. So what my concern is I would like more. I understand that you don't want the 40-foot setback, but the 27 is not enough in my opinion. So I would be comfortable with 32, which means your cover gets pulled back towards your house a little bit more, which I believe is approximately the 12 foot that you were referring to.
But that's not going to make my yard any smaller or anything.
No, just gonna make that overhead smaller.
Do you want to, I can sketch it out if you want to approach. And I don't know.
Your,
Comfortable with
your
this.
patio will be semi-covered. About 2/3 of your existing patio will be covered from the house,
Not all gonna
2/3
be
out.
covered.
And then the,
Furniture won't be underneath.
no, 12 foot of it by 23.
12 foot will be covered.
Sure.
I probably need to see it.
you want
You wanna-
to, you can get an continuance,
Mhm.
come back next time, and then you can, if that's.
That would be the process, correct? We would have to update this and resubmit it.
We have to do.
Or we can approve it tonight.
We can approve the setback right now, and then you can work with Jim.
Okay.
Or you can look at it a little bit harder and see if that you're comfortable with that, and either come back with an agreement or maybe an alternative that you've thought about. If we close today,
So
then
when-
you have to start the process all over.
So in other words, the porch ends here. Now the overhead's only going to come to here. So this part's going to.
Yes, correct.
But you can get an umbrella. There's other ways to handle the shade that way as well. I think it's a great compromise.
And it's common. This isn't something
gonna look-
unusual. It's going to look fine. Cosmetically, it'll be fine.
That's something else.
So you want to go with the 12-foot, with the 32-foot setback? Or do you want to,
Or do you want a continuance so that it can come back in a couple weeks?
or you want to have a couple minutes to talk about it? We could take a,
Or we could go to the,
yeah, sure.
yeah, you can go in the hallway if you want and talk out of sight.
We're going to table you, go out and talk, and we'll bring the next one in. All right, don't go away. What we have?
Jim's gonna have to pay.
Okay, all right. Next appeal, while we table that one,
Bunch of the pipe.
is going to be Appeal 21-1920. Julia Skolnick?
Yes, hi, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. You need the name and address and be sworn in.
Sure, I'm Julia Skolnick at 1072 Gary Drive.
Wait, do you solemnly swear testimony about to give will be the truth, so help we God?
I do.
Thank you.
Here's the fence, right?
Yeah, Mark?
Oh, any exhibits?
Yep.
Hold on.
All right, Mr. Chair, the exhibits are as follows. A1 is the application, A2 site plan, B1 proof of publication, B2 proof of posting, and B3 notice to the neighbors.
Okay, tell us what you want.
We would like to install a fence to the almost edge of our property, which goes over a sewer easement.
On your plan that I have here in front of me, the darkened border, is that the fence? I'm having a hard time figuring out what you're doing here.
Yes, it is. Sorry, it was drawn over our lot plan, so it's the darkened areas. It'll come off the back of the house and go to the edge of the property.
All right, so your fence is going to be over the sewer easement,
Yes,
and you want the variance for that. And you, of course, you must know that, they need to get in there. They're going to rip that out at your expense. If we were inclined to give you this variance, you understand that that's what you'd have to agree to.
just can you clarify who's they and what's the circumstance?
So if, so this is a series, and so I guess do they have a pipe utility or is it just?
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Is your mic on?
This is Jim Majewski. I'm the Township Director of Planning and Zoning. The easement that's on the property is a storm sewer easement. There is a pipe that runs through the storm sewer easement. And therefore, in the event that the township at some future date, hopefully a long, long time from now, but at some future date, had to repair or replace the pipe, one of the things that we would require is that the fence be removed and replaced at your sole expense. So it would be on you if we need to get in there to access that to replace the pipe.
Okay, that's okay with me.
Okay. I have a question for you here, Jim. The plan that you did provide does show an inlet on the property corner. And it does look like, given the easement, that it's the high end of the pipe, shallow steps of the pipe. Are there any concerns about fence footers on top of there should be set back, or should it be set back a couple feet to remove the risk of putting fence footers into the pipe?
Yes, that's something that I'm glad Mr. Solar pointed out. We probably should have that fence pulled back about 2 feet off that property line to make sure that you don't poke a hole in the pipe when they put the footers in for the fence.
Is it just in the corner where the grading is, or the whole way along the edge?
It would appear that the pipe runs along your rear property line in the same direction as your property line. So the inlet is, supplies access to a pipe. So what Jim would want is to pull your rear property line forward 2 feet all across it. And that's where your fence would be put in. Does that make
Okay,
Is that
so
clear?
the fence would not go all the way to the edge of the property, it would just come 2 feet in all the way across the back.
Correct, yes.
Okay,
And that would just be in the area where the easement is, not on the sides of the property, on each side of the house.
right, just in the back, sure.
You okay with all that?
Does it have to be 2 feet? Can it be 1 feet, 1 foot?
If you want to do a mark out and then based
yeah.
off of
That's,
that.
there's a width to the post and the footer.
I think that's something maybe we can determine in the field, but I think 2 feet is probably very reasonable.
Stay with the 2.
Okay, that's fine with me, just wanted to ask.
I don't have any other questions.
Anybody? Any public comment? No public
No
comment?
public comment on this item.
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Appeal 21-1920 for the installation of a fence along the property line within the rear property line easements, subject to an offset of 2 feet from the storm sewer.
Storm drain. Yeah. Storm sewer, it is storm sewer. I know we had sewer.
Can I ask a question just for clarification? So when I'm looking at my lot, it looks like there's 10 feet that's on the sewer easement. You don't mean 2 feet in from that 10 feet. You just mean 2 feet from the property line.
From your property line, correct.
Okay, just checking.
And the other contingency we have to add is that you will remove the
Yes, thank you.
fence at no cost to the township when the access is required to the storm sewer.
Mm-hmm. Can you remind me, that I do agree to that. Can you remind me what the circumstances that the township would need it removed?
If they need access to the pipe, if it breaks, if there's maintenance going on. The process, I mean, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, Jim, but the process is, they'll bring an excavator in to access that pipe. They'll dig down. Your fence is in the way. So we're allowing you use of we're allowing you to install a fence within the easement for the sewer with the understanding that the township's not going to absorb any additional costs to remove the fence and then reinstall it or however it goes. So,
Absolutely, thank you.
is that fair, Jim?
And just for your information, this development was done, I think, in the 1990s. The pipe that was installed is concrete pipe. Typically, that will last at least 100 years. The only problems you occasionally have, which is another reason to pull the fence a few feet off the top of the pipe, is occasionally the pick holes that they use to pick up the pipes. Sometimes the piece of concrete they use to plug it will collapse in, and that'll start to suck soil in, and then the town might have to dig down a couple of feet to replug that hole. So the 2 feet off the property line or off the pipe will come in handy for that too. But generally, concrete pipe lasts a very long time.
Okay, we have a motion. We had one. We gave it. Do we have a second? Second? Any discussion? No discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Not everybody said aye. The motion is granted. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We have, the month is back. We have one more. Okay. Go to the next one. Okay, keep moving. Appeal number 211921, Brian and Melanie Parker. Are they here? Come on up at the table there. Get your name and address. You have any exhibits yet?
I'm right here. I'm Brian Parker.
No.
Oh, there they are.
Oh, there they are. Oh, I'm sorry. There they are. Okay. Have you been, did you give your name and address, and have you been sworn in?
Not yet. I'm Brian Parker. I'm at 24 Highland Drive, and this is my wife,
Melanie Parker.
You guys solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Rob's with us as well.
Yeah, can you swear me in as well?
Rob, do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes, and exhibits?
We're going to mark the application as A1, the site plan as A2, proof of publication B1, proof of posting B2, and B3, notice to the neighbors.
Okay, we see your plan. Go ahead and explain it to us.
Okay, so I'll get started with the explanation of the plan. I'm Rob McCubbin from Anthony Sylvan Pools. I believe we have two variances on this one. I'm going to address the impervious coverage variance first. I believe the second variance was for an existing shed. But I'll address the impervious surface first on this one.
Can you get a little closer to the microphone? We can hardly hear you.
Sure can.
Thank you.
Yep. So we have a property that is 14,476 square feet. This property holds an impervious surface limit of 24%, or 3,747 square feet. The property currently sits with an existing impervious coverage of 26.5%. So we have an existing dwelling at 2,065 square feet. We have an existing driveway at 1,479 square feet, a front walkway at 191 square feet, and the shed at 100 square feet, which brings us to our 3835, or 26.5%. We are looking to build an in-ground concrete pool with a patio. We have a proposed pool coping area of 94 square feet. Our pool equipment pad, which would consist of the filter, heater, and all the mechanicals for the pool, at 24 square feet, and 600 square feet of pool deck, for a total of 718 square feet. When you add our total existing and proposed together, it gives us 4,553 square feet, or 31.51%. So we're clearly over. We started over to begin with. We do have a stormwater management plan for this project. That stormwater management plan will mitigate back down to 24%. So the stormwater management plan is not just designed for the 718 square feet we are adding. It is designed for the full 806 square feet we are over the 24%. So we do have a stormwater management plan, which we would obviously comply to any of the township engineer's recommendations on modification to that plan as we go through the engineering process. And we would also obviously have our operations and maintenance agreement filed with the township for the stormwater management system itself. The stormwater management system is an infiltration system that is 3 foot deep, 3 foot wide by 37.5 feet long on the downhill side of the property to capture this excess rainwater that's coming off the property. So with this plan, we are technically improving the drainage on the property because we are taking into account what we are already over.
Okay, we got it. Now, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but,
It's fine.
so, Jim, did her calculations, were they correct?
Yes, what he had stated is correct and the calculations are accurate.
One more question. I thought I heard you say you're putting a new patio in? Did I hear that incorrectly?
No, pool.
Is that just the
pool pad.
sidewalk around the pool?
That is the pool patio.
Okay, I thought I heard you say patio.
No,
Yeah, that is sort of big.
no, yeah, there's an existing patio there.
Oh,
Mentioned the second variance.
we was just gonna bring that up unless somebody had a question on the first.
Yeah, I was told that I had to get request a variance for the shed that's been existing there probably 20 years, well before we had moved in. But I guess it's required to have 10 feet from all property lines. We just requested to keep it as is, as it's been sitting since we bought
About
it.
3 feet.
It's roughly about a foot off, maybe it's about 3 feet off the line. I don't know. I don't know exactly where the property line is. I'm just looking at where the fence line is at the moment.
It is 1 foot off the side property line.
What about having it 3 feet instead of 1 foot?
But it's
Supposed to be
existing.
10.
Right, but what I'm saying is that that shed's been there since.
Yeah, we understand that.
God knows, I have no idea how long that thing's been there.
Did you get a permit? They never got a permit, Jim? Is there any?
We've only been here 6 years. I don't know when that was incorporated.
I'm not sure if a permit was ever obtained for the shed.
What do you have in the shed?
Tools, lawnmowers, storage.
Is this something you could just move over 2 feet? I'm just asking. I have a shed.
No, I honestly don't think it is. I mean, if I do it, it's no.
Probably gonna fall.
Yeah, it's probably
It may fall apart.
You're putting a pool in, so you got the equipment there.
And equipment's on the other side. Yeah, equipment's on the
No,
other side. of
the equipment to
No,
do the pool, the same equipment can be used to move the shed a couple feet.
No, I don't think it's going to withstand any movement, to be completely honest.
Do you know if the shed is footed or not footed? Does it have a concrete pad under it?
It does.
Stone.
I don't even think it's stone, Rob, to be honest. I think it's just there.
I'm not happy with the 1 foot.
And if anything ever needs, I don't understand if there's anything ever need to be moved, it could be moved at my expense. It's not an issue at all. But I mean, just moving at this point after it's been there for as long as it has been, where, I mean, I can look at 300 other houses in the township and 90% of them will have along that line as well. Definitely, if you required, we could definitely put it in there as part of the allowance that it would be moved at my expense if it's necessary.
How do you take care of the spot between the shed and and your property line? Is that a fence there or?
There's a fence, yeah, there's a fence that runs alongside that shed. There's a couple weeds here and there that we just pull out, but other than that, there's nothing there. Think there's a poison ivy patch on the other side of the fence, maybe?
We'll ask in a minute. Anybody? Did you want to make a comment? You have to come up and. You have to come up and be sworn in.
Just speak my whole thing and get it over.
It's your name, address. and-
Hello. Oh, my name is Alex Trower. I'm at 26 Highland Drive. I live on the property adjacent to the Parkers.
Just next to the shed.
I'm sorry?
Property next to the shed.
Correct.
Alex, you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
I'm half deaf. I have no idea what he said.
Sir, do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you spell your last name for me, please?
Oh, your last name.
Oh, last name is Hraur.
Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Alex Trower of 26 Highland Drive in Yardley, PA. My property adjoins the Parker property regarding this appeal. The primary appeal has to do with the request to install an in-ground concrete pool and patio, which exceeds the allowable amount of impervious surface allowed. The secondary request variance being requested is to allow the existing shed to remain 1 foot from the property line. 10 feet is required. First and foremost, I would like to say I have no immediate conceptual objection to the appeal or variances at hand. No objections to the shed remaining as is. The only potential concern I would like to voice is the grease of existing allowable impervious surface this project represents and any effects it may have on my adjacent property. My current backyard is subject to some degree of flooding and heavy rain events, and I would like to be assured that this requested project will not worsen this condition if granted. Since this will be a less impervious surface to absorb rain events, I would like some assurances that water runoff will be managed as part of this approval process so as not to cause any additional challenges to my property. Will water runoff simply flow onto my property at a higher rate than currently accustomed? Will new water runoff from the new concrete patio be managed, channeled, or drained so as not to sheet directly onto adjoining backyard properties? Also, how will pool overflow dumping be managed? Ideally, design considerations are being made to direct any excess water towards the front portion of their property onto the street without imposing any new ill side effect to adjoining backyard properties. Please provide a clear explanation of these water runoff concerns in order to alleviate these concerns and in order for me to better support this appeal request. Thank you.
This design incorporates an infiltration trench that has to be designed, engineered, so the water, the excess water, that's the sidewalk that takes up for the impervious surface, that water will be directed toward that trench, not your property. So
Right.
you said, you indicated that you had runoff from his property now. I think that's what you did say.
I'm sorry.
Did you say you had runoff? You don't
I
have
have
any
run-
problems right now with runoff?
I have an issue with runoff from the other property,
No, we
which
don't
was
care
not the issue. It has to do with a previous owner that doesn't own
Stay
the
with this
property now.
So,
Because I fixed the issue. I was getting a pool in my backyard
Yeah, okay.
without me wanting a pool.
we're just concerned about this property
Okay.
here. So,
So they're installing a stormwater management system to compensate for the added impervious of the pool and the patio and everything.
That's all. I just want assurances. I have no issues with any of this. I just want to make sure that I don't have another pool in my
as
backyard.
far as the pool overflowing, I've had a pool for 25 years. I've never, ever had it overflow. Got close, but I never had.
Right.
And the other point too, and the other point too is right now he's at 26%. He's going to be taking it down to 24%. So even with the additions that he's putting into it, he's going to bring the effective impervious cover back to in line where it needs to be. So it'll actually be a better situation for you.
As long as I'm assured there's no issue on my end, I have no issue with that.
Well, nothing's perfect, but it's pretty darn good.
I'm sorry.
Nothing's perfect, but it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be an improvement. I did it with my house. A lot of people do it.
Yep.
It definitely makes a difference. Does that satisfy your?
Can I get anything in writing?
No.
So the variance granted would be granted with the condition, most likely, that the effective impervious rate would be brought down to 24%, meaning the effective rate is lower than what it is currently. So that will be in writing. Yes.
And that means that there should be less runoff
Okay.
than there is now.
Yes.
So you'll have
And
less.
it's also going to be,
I just don't want them to be affected. I really like them a lot.
yeah, and it will be done in,
But at the same time, I'm trying to cover my own rear end.
and it will be done, with the approval of the township as far as the specifics of the stormwater system. So from that perspective, you are covered.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Somebody, did you guys want to comment? On this particular project? Yeah, sure. Come on up.
Can I show?
Yeah.
You wanna- yeah.
Can I show the picture I just took before I came? Oh, right.
Well,
Have a seat first. Your names?
gentlemen, this is our first time appearing in
Your
this.
name,
board.
your name and address
Name and
first.
address.
My name is Thomas Lien, Lien. My wife Katie. We live on 7 Plymouth Lane, Yardley, PA. Our backyard is connected to the Parker's backyard,
Okay.
separated by the fence.
Mr. Lee, we have to swear you in first.
Are you both going to be talking at the? Okay, so you're both, could you just introduce yourself, and then what we would like to do is have both of you sworn in?
Sorry about that.
Okay. My name is Katie Dien. Also, I live in 7 Primus Lane, Yardley, right behind Mr. Parker's.
All right, I'm going to swear you guys both in. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Well, anyway, this is our experience, first time appearing in this. And anyhow, we have been living in Yardley for over 45 years. Come and go that this property of Parker's, I mean, have been changing hands many a time. Mr. and Mrs. Parker are a very admirable couple. They take care of their kids very well, as far as we can see. And since they decided to build a pool, that we do not have any objection whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
The only concern we have is about the stormwater runoff. As we all know that the stormwater is currently run off from west to the east. Okay, I don't know, gentlemen, get an idea or not. Okay, it's from the shade toward the so-called the trench.
Bring that up. Hold on a second.
So this is a picture of, okay,
This is a picture of our backyard.
all right.
This is the driveway is running here. Our house. It is mentioned that right in the lower part.
Okay.
So the driveway comes in, you can see the slope going down. Okay. This house.
We can't hear the comment. Is it possible to hear what they're saying?
Here.
So the slope going down from the front.
That's your yard or his yard? Okay, done. Beautiful. Go on, talking to the mic.
The front from the driveway going down.
The microphone, gotta get
to
it
the
closer.
fence, okay? And then the other side is coming down to the other end. So as you can see in here, let me see. This is one, it's from my driveway. So you can see the slope from the front down, and another slope, it's from that gentleman's house down. So everything, the water, after his, it's coming to the other side. So as you can see here, going down, see all the flowers. Okay, come to the birdhouse in here. This is the joint of the lowest part of our property. In other words, after that, oh, right.
Use the mic.
Sorry. At the birdhouse area, this is the joint of the front and the side. It's the lowest part of our backyard. If any problem, any heavy rain, if it's not properly conducted, that would become a point. So our concern is how we going to conduct this pebble and the drainage outgoing. If it doesn't done properly, this will become a pond.
Or will be engineered.
I know, but I like to know how it can be done because this area could become a pond in here. And you know what? This is my backyard flower bed. I cannot take extra water in here. You see that?
Have you seen the plans?
Yes, we saw it.
So right here, this is your property back here.
Right.
So right here,
Uh-huh.
there's an impoundment berm that as you said, it goes from west to east and slopes down.
Right.
This is going to capture that.
The water.
that Water.
Right.
Plus, they're going to bring it down to a lower impervious cover back to 24%. So they're actually improving their contribution to the area. So it's actually going to be much better than it was before.
Then what
So-
the outlet of the water going to be? Because I know the slope is coming down to the end of the birdhouse area. That's my property, end of the property. Then where the outlet, where the water flow go?
The water's staying on the property. What's going to happen is they're going to be digging a big trench and filling it with stone.
Uh-huh.
The water, that'll be covered over, so you won't see it, but below grade, there'll be this stone that has a lot of space between the stones. So when there's a lot of water, it'll go into that and fill the space between the stones and gradually soak into the ground.
Plus, there'll be a containment berm as well right in front of that.
Gentlemen,
One at a time.
the project calls for, in addition to the so-called 3 feet deep
3 inches.
trench, it also calls for building a 6 inches impoundment berm. I think in fact it's like a dike, right? 6 inches high. And I don't know which side that is going to be built. If that is built on the fence side, meaning the water is going to push off into our side,
No.
right?
As Mike was saying, it's along your joint property line. So what he's looking to do is capture any runoff from his pool area by a series of swales to their infiltration system that they're digging. And they're putting basically a berm on the back side of it between his property and your property to help capture that water. Does that
But
make
the
sense?
berm actually is going to be on
His property.
closer to the fence, right?
Yes.
Yes.
closer
Okay,
to the
so
fence.
so the water flow from the west side, if it doesn't go through that fence, it could be overflow
It won't.
in the upper part of here. It's going to be cross over and go through his side, coming over this way.
He's putting a swale in that area to capture it and bring it to the right location.
You ought to look at the drawing, you can.
Well, anyway, I just want to be assured that.
Yeah, so what, and I'm sure his builder will attest to this, but so basically what he's providing is a swell along the rear property line that pushes the water into the infiltration system. There's also another swell that's on the near side between the pool and his house that also pushes water to that infiltration system. And so that it doesn't.
Details map.
That one, yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, this 6 inch bomb is on this side, meaning it's on this side. It's closer to the fence.
The berm is closest to the fence.
Meaning that it's taking care of that side.
It'll go right into the trench.
Yes.
Anything that's on your side, you keep.
But what I'm saying is that the boom, that 6 inches boom is on.
It's enough. Like he was trying to explain here, he's gonna grade the ground so the water swales into the trench.
Well, anyway, I'm just raising the concern.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you gentlemen think that that they can assure that this is not going to affect the storm water
It'd be better.
runoff, then
There should be less.
we are.
He's designing it to reduce the stormwater runoff onto your property. Is all the stormwater going to disappear? No, but he is designing it so that whatever he's adding, as well as a little bit more, is going to go into stormwater. And so you'll see there's no adverse effect of what's going on.
Because from the way I see the ground level like this, if they build up this way, along with this so-called 6 inches bump,
I think we've explained,
meaning the water from here is going to push to this side.
I think we've explained that pretty clearly. If you look on the bigger drawing, which you can hardly see on there, if you'd like to come up, I can show you right here. And how the water is gonna go.
Well,
I call that a reservoir at the end of the property is very important. If the water stay there too long, that also is going to break
It's going to go into the trench.
And be assured that this design will minimize the impact that you receive from their property. So this addresses those concerns.
You're not going to see the water.
Yep, it'll be a better situation for you.
Into the dirt. I can't say no.
No, it's
No.
too far.
That has got nothing to do with you. You're on your own. You're on your own with that one.
Well, if
You'll be happy with
it.
it.
Of that, okay? If
Okay. Thank you, and it's going to be engineered and inspected as.
Yeah,
as it's
you
built.
you will see the water runoff is a
I saw
problem.
it.
We'll come back here.
You can.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay. Anybody else? Public comment?
No
Nobody?
further public comment.
We do. All right. I'm going.
Oh, no further public comment.
Oh, no further. All right, we'll make a motion. Make a motion.
I have a question on the existing crushed stone area to be used as a construction entrance. Is he there?
Yep.
Is that being removed at the end of this, or is that staying? It's at the end of the driveway. It's called out as existing stone area to be used as a construction entrance. It's hatched as stone.
Right. I do not know what the plan is for that. It is an existing, an existing stone coming off the driveway, yes.
It's an existing stone. It's been there. And yeah, we have just a camper parked on it.
You have a camper that parks on it? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have a gate there that's lines up to it. I'm assuming that's to get your camper in and out. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
No, that's a good point. That stone there is going to be used for the trucks to drag the mud off. Is that part of that reason why?
Yeah, it's part of the
So how will we know that that's going to be cleaned after it's done? It's going to capture a lot of mud. That's the idea of putting that there. So your vehicles building the pool, they don't drag the mud out into the street. I'm sorry, you. So is that something that, Jim, that you would check on, or he's got his trailer parked over it right now and they want to use it for construction trucks?
We can make our township engineer aware of that, and as they review the plans, make sure that the proper procedures are followed in order to make sure that works out.
You understand that, right?
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I caught what that was.
You have your boat on top of some gravel right now.
Yeah.
They want to use that in the plans. It shows the existing stone area to be used as a construction entrance. All
Correct.
your vehicles are going to be building this pool. Are going to create a lot of mud and dirt. That stone is usually clean the tires the best they can as they're coming out, so you don't bring it into the street.
Yep.
So, but the idea is when it's done and your construction is done, that stone is put back to its same original condition.
Correct. Correct.
That would be up to the contractor, and then of course we would inspect that.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other comment? No more comment? We had none, right? I have no problem with the shed. Mhm. The only thing I would like to add, if they did change the shed, you move it out and you get a permit. You're not gonna be able to put that back there.
If at any point I move the shed, it's gone somewhere else. It's not ideal for me.
Yeah,
but it's just,
and that's actually a good point, because if if the shed does slide, I believe we have a 10-foot setback from a roof structure in the township, right, for the pool?
I think the question to Jim.
Correct, yes.
That is correct.
Do you have room for that?
If that shed slides, then this pool's got to go with it.
Well, as long as it stays there.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing's built yet on the pool. I'm just saying. We just got to keep that in
You
mind.
change that shed, you're not gonna be able to put it right there.
I don't plan to. final plans it.
Let that be clear.
Yeah.
It's gonna go out to the 10-foot mark.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Somebody want to make a,
Making a move.
Okay, I'll make a motion for Appeal 21-1921 to be approved as submitted.
we have a second.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any discussion? There being no discussion? Appeal is granted.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, everybody.
you're still here.
Come on back.
Come on.
We need to be sworn in again?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so since,
After conferring, we were talking about changing it to a 32-foot setback. Sherry would ask for a 30-foot setback, allowing for a 14-foot roof cover.
Where is the sun oriented in relationship to the backyard?
I'm sorry, where's what?
Where does the backyard face?
I'm on an end, so the back is like a side.
You asking for like compass?
Yeah.
See the
Yeah.
picture?
North, south, east, west.
Here's the picture.
Honestly, I don't know off the top of my head.
Public comment?
There wasn't.
I think a person that came on for a different appeal was on this one.
Sherry, do you know which direction? It says north, south.
Thank you.
Clairton Court has 17 homes on it. I'm on the last one, but my mailbox is on Long Meadow, which is on the side. My driveway and mailbox is on Long Meadow, even though I'm Clairton Court with the 17 homes, but the front of my house is on Clairton Court. So here's the side, my driveway and on the side of the house. So it's still the back of the house.
Do you know
I don't
what,
know.
what way it faces? North, south, east, west? That was the question.
Back of the house?
Yeah. do you-
Actually, if I may, the property is oriented that the front of the house faces Clarendon Court, which is on the west. The driveway, which is on the side of the house, goes out to Long Meadow, is on the north side. The current patio that's there is on the east side of the property. So the roof structure and the,
You got the morning sun there.
correct.
Right. And what did we ask for? 32-foot setback. And they want 30. We're going to bargain back and forth here? I want to keep it at 32. I think that's being more than reasonable.
I mean, it was 17 before, so it was,
No.
we had it at 17 feet for the length of the porch, or 16 and a half.
No, and we're not going to allow that.
You're only going to allow 12.
You're supposed to have not your 40 feet setback. You're asking way more than that. So originally you wanted 23-foot setback? Is that what they're-
26.
26,
27.
27?
Just under 27.
Is the reason because it's on an end, the house?
No, I mean, I understand the need for the variance because you have two front yards, which pushes your house back, but I am concerned that pushing into a rear setback is now impacting the character of the neighborhood, and your neighbor is, I don't even know what their setback is, but we're trying to allow you to make your home better and make it work better. And that's clearly what you're trying to do, but we also have to have some understanding of what's going on other people's properties and in the neighborhood. So I think I'm a little uncomfortable with 30-foot setback. I'm okay with the 32. I know it's 2 feet. I know you prefer to have 30. I know you.
It's 5 feet.
7, but it's just too tight.
Yeah, but it's 5 feet of the porch making it smaller. That's what you're.
Yeah, that's right. Just making it smaller. I know you want more, but you're not going to get it. I know you keep asking. 32-foot setback, you have to drop it back to 12 feet. Will that make it?
No matter what kind of covering, it's still, even if I got an
That's a-
awning, it still can't go all the way back to the porch.
That's right.
You can put an awning on top of your, you put your new roof, you put your new patio out, your covering out. You want to put a extendable awning off that, that's fine, it's not a permanent structure.
If you want to put an umbrella out there,
Umbrella's out like I
that's
have.
fine. It's not a, it's not a structure.
And when when we have bad storms, I'll probably be knocked down. I'll do the 12-foot. I'd rather have the overhead, a stronger overhead that's going to stay in.
I
It'll
think
just be a
32 is a
little-
pretty good compromise, quite frankly.
Okay.
Let's move it along. Are you okay with that? We'll make a motion.
We have public comment on this issue?
Oh, we do? Oh,
Yep, I can bring Tom in now. Tom, you can unmute with *6.
Tom Amendolari, 1213 Long Meadow Lane. I can spell the last name for you.
okay, spell it.
Amendolari.
Okay, be sworn in.
Yes, go ahead.
Bill?
Who's Bill?
Bill, you still with us?
I'm sorry. Tom, you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I'm adjacent to Sherry's home. I'm the last home on Long Meadow Lane. I guess many years ago, there was no homes behind us. It was all woods, and then they put in homes, whatever it is, a dozen or so on Clarendon. I forget the name of that development that she mentioned. So I appreciate, your concern about the 40-foot variance. It's obviously 40 for a reason. That home really encroaches on, my home on Long Meadow once they took those trees down and put those homes on Clarendon. But the real issue is the same one that's come before, us tonight on all of these appeals. It's runoff. It's water. There's a very, very terrible water saturation issue between our homes. And that was somewhat mitigated by some very large privacy affording pine trees that were taken down to accommodate a fence. And with those removal of the trees went the shade that the property owner now seems to want to replace with a patio cover. And the absorption of the water has been reduced as a result of the removal of the trees. So I am concerned that, anything less than a 40-foot variance is going to just continue to contribute to the saturation issue between our homes. And if you took a drive-by, you would see, these homes in Clarendon were really, shoehorned in, and the spacing between, my side yard on the west facing to Lecter's east facing is very limited. So to the extent that this cover contributes to additional runoff, and that's what I'm envisioning with a slanted roof, is there'll be additional runoff without the benefit of the trees that were there. Again, so many before me, I'm concerned with increased saturation and inability to remove the water.
I don't believe
So
there's
that's
an
my-
impervious
that's my-
surface issue, though, is there on this?
It's slightly reduced, and the patio's, the patio's been there for a while, so that's impervious cover already. So it's not an impervious cover issue. You're not.
It's not an issue at all.
Yeah, it's not an issue at all.
The
Okay,
proposed
well-
cover, the cover that they're proposing is already over impervious surface.
Existing impervious surface. So it doesn't add
Okay.
to it. It's already figured in.
So it's public comment. Those are my comments. I mean, I think the board's point about the aesthetics are very valid and relevant. You should take that into consideration as well. Again, I think there's a reason why it's a 40-foot variance. I'm not quite sure I understand the compromise down to 32, but you know, you guys do what you think you got to do. I voice my concerns.
Okay, thank you very much.
By the way, there's an appeal, I understand, now that I'm a party to. So what would I want to do if you do approve the 32 and I want to then appeal it further?
You're a party to the.
You would first request party status, and is that what you're doing here?
Yep, that's what I'm doing here.
Okay. And are you opposed to the variance?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Then you would be notified, and after the board makes its decision, you would have the right to appeal that to the Court of Common Pleas.
Sounds fine. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Have you talked to your neighbor about this?
No further public comment.
No, my sign is out there for them to read.
Or did you physically?
Right, but did you
Have a
walk
conversation.
over and talk to them
No,
about what
because
you-
the overhead is not even near his house.
You're not understanding. Did you tell him, it sounds like he's concerned that what you're doing is going to be not
No,
aesthetically
he's
pleasing.
concerned because previously I took trees out to put my fence in. 3.5 trees were on my property, which he took an ordinance to Jim and the township approved me. So since I took out the 3.5 trees to put a beautiful fence in, a $20,000 fence that I put in, I could have put in an ugly fence. And I had to do it for my dog's sake. The trees were in my backyard, took up my whole backyard. They were huge.
Okay, I understand. We understand.
And so that's why he's.
We don't need any
upset.
more.
This overhead has nothing to do with the trees or a runoff.
That's not what we were asking.
No,
We're fine.
I didn't ask him about the overhead. I didn't know I had to.
You don't. We were just asking as a comment if you did.
No.
Okay.
Because they don't really talk to me now.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I think, go ahead and make a motion.
Yes, please. 32 feet.
So, let's see, we are, in regards to Appeal 21-1919, we approve a 32-foot setback?
Rear yard.
What's that?
Rear yard.
Yep,
Rear yard
32-foot
setback.
rear yard setback,
Minimum of 32 feet.
minimum of 32 feet.
All those in favor, say aye.
Do we need to add a comment that it's impervious area?
That's already given.
No, that's
Plans,
on the
the
plan.
plans already state that.
32 feet is already given.
We got a second? Is there any?
Second.
If nothing else, no discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Good luck.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Show your shade.
You draw up your drawings and get them and apply for a permit.
Township engineer.
Moonsey knows what to do. That's how the system works. Sorry. It's all about compromise. Okay, is there any other business? German. Oh, that's right.
So,
Make a motion,
The next meeting, is that all? Good with that one?
August 3rd.
August 3rd.
Thank you very much.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Okay, so moved. All those in favor, say aye. Meeting adjourned.